That's better. Ah, I see you back. Okay, are you ready for part 2? Well, good, because I should warn you, it is about to get quite heartbreaking in places, so get your tissues ready. The Last Wood Elf of Bavalon, part 2. The mage let out a bellowing yell at Freya's death. Then he threw his head back and let out a bellow that was loud enough to wake the dead. O Drago and Emma asote engomi etate esto bana ankas. He was summoning the great and powerful dragon Paarthurnax, using his Dragon-Tamer Powers. The dragon flew in with a great flap of his wings. He landed in front of Emrys as the Wood Elf lifted Freya's lifeless body into his arms. This dragon may be immortal, but he showed clear signs of great age, including tattered skin on his wings and tail, broken and chipped horns and chin spikes, dulled colour in his greyish-green skin and black eyes, as well as several teeth missing. Poor Paarthurnax, old age doesn't do you a lot of good, does it? I'm sorry to summon you under these circumstances, but I need you to take me to Avalon, Emrys said to the greatest dragon in the worlds. Oops. A few hours later, Paarthurnax flew to the Lake of Avalon with Emrys on his back as the Wood Elf held Freya's lifeless body in his arms. He looked out and saw the Lake of Avalon with the Avalon Tower on the island in the middle. Paarthurnax landed and let Emrys step off his back. Then he carried Freya to the lake. He was going to try and heal her with the water. Emrys! Paarthurnax called to Emrys as he walked halfway to the lake. The Wood Elf looked up at him. There is nothing you can do for her. I'm sorry, old friend, but she is gone. The dragon looked down at Emrys as he lifted Freya up in his arms, and tears ran down his scarred face. The grief in Emrys had taken him over completely. It was rare for his emotions to take him over like this, but this time he lost the woman he loves, and he lost control of his emotions completely. I can't lose her! She's the love of my life! I can't let her die like this! Emrys yelled, but Paarthurnax lowered his head to Emrys and looked him right in the eyes. Freya has a destiny as great as yours, Emrys. She is destined to be the Lady of the Lake of Avalon. He'll be the guardian of the Lake of Avalon, and when the need of Bavalon is greatest, Freya will rise from the water to help, Paarthurnax said to the mage. Emrys nodded to his old friend and mentor. I understand now, Paarthurnax. Until we meet again, Emrys said. The dragon nodded, then with a great flap of his wings, took off and flew towards his home in the southern mountains. An hour later, Freya lay in a boat covered with blue, red and purple flowers, with her arms folded across her chest. Emrys looked down at her as he fought back the tears welling in his eyes. Then he knelt down and put his hand on her forehead. I'm going to free your spirit from the Dark Elves' control, my love, so you can rest in peace as my final gift to you. Griff fasti stin midth is tindraga egadan sawar Emrys said. The colour of his eyes flashed green, and she suddenly woke up. She looked at Emrys as he looked down at her. The dark elf blade had been enchanted to enslave Freya's soul, even beyond death. But Emrys had now freed her soul from the dark elf magic. Emrys, thank you, she whispered, then closed her eyes and gave one last sigh. Emrys felt tears run down his scarred face. Then he pointed his hand at the boat. His eyes flashed green, and the boat sailed away across the lake. Farewell, my love, he whispered. Then the colour of his eyes flashed green, and the boat was set aflame. He was now the last wood elf in Bavalon, but he was now the protector of the worlds and had a duty to fulfill. As the boat neared Avalon, Emrys recovered from his memory of Freya and looked in front of him to see the Vilya were still guiding him to the lake. He saw the tower in the distance and knew that they were close by. The boat sailed to the lake. He knew Freya must be here and wanted to know if she was okay. The boat stopped and he looked out at the water. Freya, are you there? Emrys whispered as he looked out over the water, over the side. Then Freya's face appeared in the water. She smiled as Emrys looked down at her. I have missed you, she said to the wood elf as he looked down at the only woman he has ever loved. The Vilya woman in her bubble form looked at Emrys as he stared at Freya. The spirit of the water smiled as the greatest and most powerful mage in all the worlds had time with his love, but pitied Emrys so that he couldn't be with Freya until her time to help Avalon was at its greatest. And you? Not a day has gone by when I've missed you, when I've thought of you, Emrys said as tears formed in his diamond blue eyes. Emrys continued, there are days that I feel so lonely that I wish you were still with me at my side. I'm so sorry I couldn't save you. Freya smiled kindly at Emrys. She had not blamed Emrys for her death, but thanked him for freeing her soul. Emrys, you are not to blame. You saved Bavalon from the Dark Elves and freed me from their control. I must return to the water soon, my love, but just remember, I will always love you, and we shall see each other again, Freya said. Emrys nodded as Freya leaned up out of the water to kiss him on the scarred cheek. Then she disappeared into the depths of the lake. Emrys watched as the love of his life disappeared into the water below. I will always love you, Freya, as well as protect the worlds for you, Emrys whispered to her as she sank below the surface. Then he used his magic to make the boat head back to the shore of the lake. As he stepped from the lake, he looked out at the tower in the middle of the lake. Until we meet again, my love, Emrys whispered, as he watched the fog cover the lake. The Vilya disappeared, and then the wood elf mage turned and walked in the distance in the direction of Avalon Forest to forever continue his lonely life until his path with Merlin the Wise, the great and powerful dragon Paarthurnax, and the other heroes of the worlds would cross. The end. I hope you enjoyed that story as much as I enjoyed writing it. And also remember, stay indoors, keep washing your hands, stay safe, keep up a routine, and make sure that you are safe. Farewell, my dear folks.